So there was once upon a time where I farted in public, where there was an ATM machine, and this lady I did not know about was standing to the stall to the right of me, and she looked over and she said, "Wow," and I said, "Well, yeah."
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I wish I was recording like just a moment ago, because I went deep and I was funny about it, talking about food and the things that I miss. Okay, right there is sweet potato pie. I know the picture is kind of blurry, but man, sweet potato pie versus pumpkin. Okay, whenever I eat pumpkin pie, there is this aftertaste that's left in my mouth that's kind of tangy. Not tangy as in like lemon, but it's kind of like it makes my tongue like how do you have you been allergic to a food? You know what I'm saying? And your tongue, feels like it's being pinched by, like little needles and shit. Well, that's how pumpkin is. That's how it tastes to me compared to sweet potato. And the crust on a good sweet potato pie is going to be buttery, and it's going to complement, the pie, the filling. That crust right there looks bland. Looks bland. I don't like all crust because it's just nasty. But when it comes down to like mustard greens, basically what I was saying was because he was showing some smothered pork chops. Bam. Man, smothered pork chops take at least an hour to 2 hours to cook. And when you cook it, you don't need a fork. You don't need a knife. It just falls apart. You know what I'm saying? You're damn near eating gravy with pork chop pieces in it. You know what I'm saying? Except for you didn't separate it and you didn't do much to it. And you try to keep the pork chop whole by just taking the spoon and dredging, like taking the gravy and pouring it over the meat. You know what I'm saying? So you barely touch the meat. But after it sits there for an hour or so, what you doing that, it just moistens up on the inside all by itself. And I don't like dry meats. I don't like dry food, period. But when it comes down to meats, I end up chewing so damn long to where my jaws hurt. And I don't like that. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like when it goes in my mouth, it's supposed to just damn near melt in my mouth. You know what I mean? And I like fat on my meat. It is crazy. It is crazy. Nowadays, people use pressure cookers because they want to hurry up. Back in the day, your parents or your grandparents would start, Sunday dinner like before church, and then when you come back home, it be done because they got it on low. You know what I'm saying? But that wasn't my idea. I was talking with a young lady, and she mentioned that, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. I had mentioned that, that it took a while. You know what I'm saying? On Sundays, they usually start about 9 or 10. But she went and mentioned, like before church, and before church is even earlier. You know what I'm saying? It's like while everybody is getting up, washing their ass and putting their clothes on, the women, moms or grandma is in the kitchen getting prepped up. You know what I'm saying? You're like, damn, is it ready yet? They're like, shit, I ain't even started. I just cut up some shit. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, yeah, you be sitting up there just waiting, stomach hurting. And it's like, man, I need something to munch on. Get in there and get you one of them sandwiches. Go get you some of that meatloaf that I cooked the other day. And make you a nice little slice, and you know what I'm saying. Don't move my shit around too much. You know what I'm saying. There's an eye. I'll make some space for you. Warm it up like that. Because back in the day, there wasn't no microwaves, so you had to warm up your food over the stove, or you put it in the oven. You know what I mean? So it's crazy, man. It's like, I remember a few years ago, there was, oh, look at that. There was pork belly sandwiches, I think at Arby's. Man, that shit was good. I was hurting myself. It's one of those things where, hey, check that out. That right there is what I want to see. Look at that. Fish and spaghetti. Some people think that fish is one part of, it's supposed to be a meal by itself, or spaghetti is supposed to be a meal by itself. But no, they work better together. They complement each other together. And like fried chicken and spaghetti. Fried chicken and spaghetti is my two favorite things. Especially leftovers. Man, I grab a drumstick or a thigh and wrap it in some paper towel, throw it in my pocket, run outside, go play. You know what I'm saying? Playing football, basketball, whatever, and it's right there in my pocket. And then whenever I'm chilling or whenever I'm walking somewhere, I just reach in my pocket and pull it out and go to town. You know what I'm saying? And spaghetti, man, always tastes better the day afterwards. And you can doctor it up. I like using I'm glad they came out with it. It's like those ragu sauces. They have the cheese, they got the parmesan, the garlic parmesan, and they got the fettuccine. Those are the three that I fuck with. And whenever you're dealing with spaghetti leftovers, you know what I'm saying, the first day, afterwards, I add a little sugar and like 2 slices of American cheese just by itself. Then I fuck that up. You know what I'm saying? It's like after you mix it up, the spaghetti sauce goes from red to orange because of, the cheese, and that's when I know I got enough. And when I have it like that, I'm taking all the sauce. You know what I'm saying? My spoon is rubbing the cheese sauce off of or scraping the cheese sauce off the edge, around the edge of the bowl when I'm done with my noodles. It's that damn good to me. And then on the next day, I might use, the garlic parmesan, or I might use the fettuccine, and I'll add it in to the regular spaghetti. Add a little sugar, doctor it up a little bit, and once again the sauce goes from red to orange. And I do the same fucking thing. You know what I'm saying? It's so good that I eat all the content, the meat, sauce, and noodles, and I'm left with all that yummy leftover sauce, and my spoon goes to town. And it's like I might even get an index finger or two and just, man, I'm fucking Homer Simpson on this shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm a foodie, true enough. Yeah, I'm a foodie, true enough. And one of these things that I really learned to like was corn cakes. I knew an elderly woman, an older woman, that made these motherfuckers so buttery and so sweetish. It's like, this is cornmeal? You know what I'm saying? This is a cornbread. I'm like, first time I had it, I was like, I don't want no pancakes. Where's the syrup? She was like, these ain't pancakes and you don't need no syrup. And then she tore off a piece and she was like, here, taste it. First she was like, take a bite. I'm like, take a bite. And she tore off a piece. You know what I'm saying? And they are so good. You can make them thick and fluffy like that, or you can make them thin. And man, it tastes so motherfucking good. It's crazy. So like with this video, what is that? That look like ham hocks. Man, ham hocks. The meat on it, you gotta boil it for a while. You gotta drain the juice. You gotta boil it again, because the way that they preserve ham hocks is like, they salt it. They salt it. They used to, at least. They salt it. And so you gotta boil out all that salt. And by the time you get all that salt out, it's damn near done. And it's damn near falling apart. But it's worth it. Because once you boil out all that salt, Man, then that's when you go in there with the rest of your ingredients, and it's like it's crazy good. Look at that shit. Look at all them onions. It's crazy good. Now, I wasn't a fan of like Eskridge sausages. My mom's used to buy those damn things, and she knew I didn't like them, so just sit there and she'll boil her a couple of eggs and boil that sausage. It smelled good, and then I noticed it was coming in different flavors, so it smelled good. But every time I tried it, it would be like too salty for me, so I didn't fuck with it too much. But I eventually started eating it, and that's that. But here it is. Chicken without the flour. You know, like baked chicken. It's good every now and then, but I'm spoiled on the flour part. If you're cooking it, trying to be healthy about it, I'm gonna refuse it. As far as my taste buds is like, I don't want that healthy shit. Yeah, I mean, but every now and then, I just, I want a good, you know, um, plain Jane ass baked um, chicken wing, um, thigh, leg, but I can't eat too much of it 'cause I truly deserve the fatty stuff, coming from the flour. Um, let's see, what else are they working with here? If they're talking about gingerbread, I'm not good with the gingerbread shit. Now, a mirepoix consists of celery, carrots, and tomatoes, and onions. And what you do is, once you dice those up, you go ahead and you put it in your skillet, and you saute them. And you saute them long enough to where the onions are see-through. And once you do that, no, is it tomato? I think it's red bell pepper. I think it's bell pepper. You call them the Trinity. The Trinity: celery, red bell pepper, carrots. It's something like that, but it's called a mirepoix. I only learned that in cook school. But when you do that, it's those are oxtails too. Oxtails is what it is. You know, when you look at an ox, when you look at a bull or something like that, and you see them swinging that shit around their, backside, that's what it look like when they're cleaned up. You know what I'm saying? You got the bone gristle, whatever, and it has a few bones that go out to the sides, and then there's meat in between those bones. There's meat, and when you season them up real well around the skin and shit, there's so many things you can do with it. It's just good as fuck. So like I say, I'm a foodie, and I like when they talk about. I like watching. There's a sweet yams, sweet potatoes, and that's candied yams, candy yams, candy yams. Man, some people fuck them up. They be fucking them up. They either overcook them or they won't cook them enough. And like I say, it's like a lot of people. They want to get health conscious. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, fuck that, man. I know obesity took over, and people was talking about, I guess trans fats, whatever. I don't really know, but I heard it, and they was saying that it was either a good thing or a bad thing. And I was like, back in the day, we didn't think about shit like that. And then they say, well, that's why people start getting obese. And it's like, no, fuck that. People start getting obese because people stop fucking. People stop, it's like they stop pulling themselves away from the food. You eat some, and then you get the fuck away from it, and you go do something. You know what I'm saying? You clean your house. Even if you argue in a fight and you're using some energy, moving your arms around, flailing and pointing over here, pointing that way, rolling your neck and shit. You know what I'm saying? Stomping around. Slamming doors, you know what I'm saying? That's exercise. When you're having sex, that's exercise. When you're chasing your kids around the house, playing and things like that, that's exercise. You know what I'm saying? Another thing is like parents stop playing with their kids. You know what I'm saying? What happened to the fathers wrestling with their sons? You know what I'm saying? Putting them in headlocks and, put them in awkward ass positions, like the big brother and little brother thing, you know what I'm saying? The father stopped doing that. The father would be looking at the older brother and be like, yeah, you punking your little brother, but guess who's bigger than you? Yeah. And then he's mad. The older brother's mad, so you take it on the younger brother. Especially the younger brother's laughing like, haha, it's your turn. You know what I'm saying? And then the daughters, they're like, some of them, they like the house, rough house it too. You know what I'm saying? So they jump on daddy and be like, daddy, do me too, do me too. You know what I'm saying? And it's cute as fuck. But all that playfulness has left. You know what I'm saying? You got a bunch of tired ass parents who go to work, come home in a fucked up ass mood, and all they want to do is like, I gotta feed these damn kids. Gotta wash these damn dishes. Gotta wash these damn clothes. I gotta fuss. I gotta make them do their homework. Gotta make sure they do their homework. And it's like, man, it used to be a treat to do shit like that. I ain't gonna say a treat, but it's like we bring these kids in here. It's part of our responsibilities. You know what I'm saying? It's not their fault that they in the world. It's our fault that we nutted in. It's not their fault that the women sat there and spread their legs. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes down to food, it takes time to get a good meal done. I don't get tired of my cooking whenever I cooked. That wasn't me. A lot of people get tired and burnt out of their own cooking. And that wasn't my case. That wasn't me. I have a little sympathy, empathy, whatever the word would be, for folks that get burnt out, because it's like when it gets to the point where no matter whose food you taste and it's not good, man, you damn near starving yourself. Look at all that butter. Okay, so that's grits. Wait a minute. Okay, what they're doing right now is they're making grits with cheese. Grits, I like grits. Trek Daddy's always talking about you don't put sugar in grits. Fuck that. Put some butter, a little salt, a little sugar, put that in grits. On a separate dish, just use butter, salt, and pepper. You might even use a little garlic powder, a little onion powder. Season it up like you would a steak. You know what I'm saying? The reason why I like grits with sugar is because whenever I used to have a sweet tooth, I would, especially in the winter time, you know what I'm saying, I would make some cream of wheat or some malted meal, and when I didn't want, or when I couldn't eat that up, then I'd go to the grits. It's a hot cereal, all you gotta do is sweeten it up, and boom. And then when it thickens up, you know what I'm saying, you can stretch it a little bit longer because it's hot, and you're taking, your spoon, and you're rubbing your spoon just on the top layers as the bottom is cooling off. You know what I'm saying? So it was a good ass snack to watch Saturday morning cartoons. But when you add cheese to it, oh man, that goes well with a lot of different things. It's like instead of having macaroni and cheese, or instead of having fettuccine and noodles, you know what I'm saying, any other kind of noodle with cheese, you can do grits with cheese. You know what I'm saying? It's cool like that. But let's see what else they got on here. Doing seasonings. I am a big fan of peach cobbler, but it's the crust. Nowadays, since it's not homemade anymore, some people still do it homemade, but I don't have all that in my life, so when someone does come around, I'm like, okay, is that like croissant crust? Because croissants are the croissant bread is so fluffy, and you can pull it apart and shit like that. So that's a pretty good crust to use on a cobbler. Even with a pie crust, you might have to thicken it up a little bit, but it's good for that too. I like peach. I like apple as far as cobbler goes. Um, Cherry is too tangy, too bitter. Strawberry it gets too sweet. And blueberry and blackberry, it's not really my thing. I like blueberry muffins every now and then. Blueberry donuts, cake donuts. Oh man, I used to go to 7-Eleven and I used to go to Safeway. Like and then they turned into Homeland. But they would have these things called cake donuts, and the texture of a cake donut is different from just a regular donut. Cake donuts are denser, but they're so damn moist. I get a 12 pack, walk home eating one, putting the rest in my room. You know what I'm saying? I would get the apple cinnamon, or I'll get the blueberry, and man, I would go to town. Nice cold glass of milk, sitting in front of the TV, watching, the evening lineup, or even in the afternoon, finding the afternoon lineup on TV, that type shit. But cake donuts, man, I like cinnamon rolls. I like my cinnamon rolls to be sticky, you know what I'm saying? Moist and sticky, cinnamony, with raisins and sprinkled nuts inside of the spirals. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you take your fork. What I like to do is I like to unravel it. You know what I'm saying? Start at the edge and peel it back until I get to the middle. Just take my time, and I like it to where it's so sticky, so messy, so syrupy that you have to use a fork. When they started using those frosted glazes, it was okay. I was like, man, but you can't substitute that nice sticky shit. From cinnamon rolls to honey buns. Honey buns was the bomb. Now you got these little bite-sized ass honey buns. It's like, get the fuck out of here, man. Apple fritters. When I got a hold of apple fritters, I didn't want shit else. That's all I wanted was apple fritters. Apple fritters. Had to have at least 2 or 3. Whenever I buy one, I had to buy 2 or 3 at a time. So that way I don't have to waste my time going back to the store. Shit. It's good with ice cream. It's good with cold milk. When you reheat it, you can take some applesauce with some cinnamon, some nutmeg, extra sugar, and mix it up real nice. And take that apple fritter and mix, break it up and drizzle some applesauce on top and go to town. Or you can microwave it and warm it up some with a little butter and go to town. But apple fritters, they're good, like room temperature. They're good, coming out the fridge, and they're good, coming out the oven or the microwave. That's a bomb ass little dessert, little pastry right there. There used to be those cherry logs. A cherry log would be white frosted, like 2 or 3 cinnamon rolls in a rectangle log, and the flavor of the jelly on the inside would be cherry. So when you look at it, you see a white frosting with little pink spots in it, but when you dig underneath there, you see it's a whole bunch of cherry filling. I also liked jelly filled donuts. Now that's something that I couldn't be too picky what the filling would be. You know what I'm saying? Because between the donut and the filling, it's like, alright, it's on and popping. Now what I think is bomb is like a banana pudding type of filling inside of a donut. Oh man, talking about getting fat and happy. KFC used to have these little treats where it was like a fried bread with like seasoned, sweet apple filling like an apple pie, filling. And man, I think they would sell them like 3 per serving. Shit, they made those damn things so good, man. It's like you damn near need to order like 2 of them, because once you eat the first set, you're gonna have to really eat on the second set later. It's kind of like what Hawaiian bread, some good Hawaiian bread, like used to get at Grandy's. Grandy's was a place that had bomb ass chicken, fried chicken. I think I like chicken fried chicken better than chicken fried steak. One of those is tough and full of gristle, while the other is not. It's pretty damn tender. And if you use the right seasonings for your breading, man, you can't go wrong. But Grandy's used to have those, and I would get it with the country, that white country gravy. Man, fucking bomb as hell. And then they had bomb ass cinnamon rolls too, so I would get a bomb ass cinnamon roll. But I most definitely had to get like a dozen of their Hawaiian rolls. Man, I didn't know what they were called at first when I was growing up, but I know I had to have them, and they were so moist. And I'm not a bread person, you know what I'm saying? Most times if you ask me if I want bread with it, I'm like, nah. You know, like breadsticks and shit like that, nah. I used to didn't eat the crust on pizzas, you know what I'm saying, unless I was just hungry as fuck. But let's see, look at these seasonings. What is this? Come on, show it to me. Anyway, those, it looks like ingredients to a nice little meal. Side items look like there's green beans, cut green beans. Looks like there's some creamed corn. Look like some yams. Got a couple of onions, some celery sticks, some seasonings. You might have some beef bouillon cubes, kosher salt, garlic powder. Look like maybe some onion powder, black pepper. That look like a fry, you know, like a fryer. That look like a crock pot, or what you call it, a pressure cooker. What do you call those hot fryer things that people are using nowadays? Let me get this off of air so it'll stop scrolling. Now see a dish like that? That meat, stew meat. I've been fucked over so many times from people who use stewed meat. And what it is, it's a beef cut. And I don't know which part of the beef it is, but you know, they cut it in like damn near little cubes. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you gotta cook them and cook them and cook them. Because if you don't, you're gonna sit there and chew. You're gonna chew the flavor out of them. You're gonna chew them so much that when you spit it out, it's gonna be pale. Bullshit you not. Now here's some homemade donuts. No, homemade biscuits that you fried bread. There we go. Not biscuits, but fried bread. Oh, it says black-eyed pea fritters. Well, it's not my thing either. What's this? Baked macaroni and cheese. Alright. The thing about baked macaroni and cheese. Alright, look at this. Look at this. Here's a prime example right here. I wouldn't like this, especially if I saw that it looked like that. My mother made some bomb ass macaroni and cheese from scratch. Boil her noodles in another pot. She, make her cheese sauce. No matter if it's 2 or 3 different cheeses. You know what I'm saying? She used the regular milk, and I think she'll probably use some carnation. No, I don't think she used carnation. That dried milk, dry cream, some shit like that. I'm not sure what else she used besides milk. But one thing I know for sure is she would scramble some eggs, and she would put her noodles in the pan, put her cheese sauce on top of the noodles, and she would take that batter. She was, season it up too. Like if she was about to fry it and, for breakfast, that egg batter, and she'll pour that egg batter in there too. And she'll mix it all up together and throw some extra cheese, shredded cheese or even American cheese. No, she would use yeah, she would break it up and still mix it in while the noodles and the sauce was still warm. And she knew I liked cheese, so she'd always add extra cheese. And then boom, she'd throw it in the oven. But those eggs, it's something about that egg that gives it a nice, it's not stiff. It's stiff enough to where when when you cut you a piece with a fork, none of the noodle is going to fall off. You're not going to lose any noodle when you cut through it with a fork and bring it up to your mouth. You can sit there, you can talk and wave your fork around. And it's not stiff because the cheese is cold. It's not stiff because it's cold, period. It could be piping hot. It's that egg. That egg, pulls everything together enough to where it's not gonna, it makes it dense enough to where it's not gonna fall apart. But you don't sit there and chew for days either. It still melts in your mouth. You know what I'm saying? Because the noodles, they're done. They're not that al dente shit. You know what I'm saying? They're done. They're not mushy. They're done. You know what I mean? As a matter of fact, you start with them, as like an al dente when you put them in your baking pot and start them to cooking in the oven. And by that time, when it's done, you know what I mean? They're done. The noodles are done. But it's something about that egg. So if you like making macaroni and cheese, try that egg part. You know what I'm saying? It's worth it. It's really worth it. Let's see what else they got on here. Cooking was something that I always liked. I remember I had a cardboard box and I drew like 4 eyes. And I was like, well, I need a skillet, but I don't have any more cardboard. So I took my black crayon and drew a cast iron skillet, and then, colored it in. And I was like, well, damn, now I fucked up because I can't color in my eggs. So what I did was I took some Play-Doh, and that's how I shaped my eggs. That's how I shaped my bacon. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have enough to put them all together, so I had to fry the bacon first. I had to shape up a couple of slices of bacon and put it in my skillet and sit there and talk to myself and do other little things, to simulate the time passing by. You know what I mean? And then get the egg, as far as taking my bacon, making a ball, separating the ball, making a couple of eggs. And then I'm like, nah, I like 3 eggs. So I put the ball back together, separate it in 3, then I make 3 eggs. You know what I'm saying? That was my imagination on a cardboard box. I was like, man, I want to make spaghetti next, but I don't have enough. You know what I'm saying? So me and my cardboard box with some Play-Doh. Thank you. Looks good. I hope it turned out right. That was the start of my journey. My taste buds was really the start, because it's like you sit there and you eyeball the ingredients, and you sit there and you watch what your parent is doing, and you're like, okay, I think I can do this. Oh, that meat that we just saw looked like they threw a sauce together and made that shit look good. It probably turned out tender. Chicken gizzards. Okay, that's what that is. Chicken gizzards. We had a restaurant called Crispy King, and my parents used to get gizzards and chicken livers, fried gizzards and fried chicken livers from there, and they would never share it, but it smells so good. It smelled better than fried chicken. You know what I'm saying? They put their foot into their batter and their flour, their seasonings and all that shit. And then, every now and then, I'll get a gizzard or I might get a chicken liver. And they had this type of hot sauce. And that hot sauce, man, is a total difference between, just a plain fried gizzard and that hot sauce. That hot sauce just made me want to eat just the hot sauce on the flour, the crust. I'll be like, man, fuck the gizzard, you know what I'm saying? Fuck the liver. But they be like, you better eat that shit. You asked for it. But I wanted just the hot sauce and the crust, the crispy shit. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, man, I fell in love with that. And I was like, I gotta have it. And then as I got older, it turned to shit. Taste buds got different. And I tried it a couple times. And I'm like, it's not hitting like it was when I was younger. Now, cornbread dressing. I like cornbread dressing. I like stovetop dressing. Some people have fucked up dressing. And I had some dressing that tasted like it had some sage overpowering like the taste of it, and it was so fucking nasty. So be careful when you're making your dressing. Not everybody shares your type of what you call it, your type of taste buds. Now they're talking about blackberry cobbler. That's not me. Now I remember walking down the alleys when I was younger, and you'll find those blackberries and blueberries. I call them blackberries, but it's blueberries. You know what I'm saying? Little clusters, blueberries. But I would call them blackberries. No, then I found out that blackberries are just round. Well, wait a minute. I think I got that backwards. Anyway, I'm a foodie. My dinner's here. And I got a big ass appetite right now. So I'm hoping they didn't fuck over my dinner. So, make it off of here. Please add your thoughts. You know what I mean? I know I'm not the only one that's pissed off at how the food is either too high to buy in the grocery stores. You know what I'm saying? Or life is got us to where we're too busy to really just sit down and cook. You know what I mean? Cook for hours and enjoy our meals. You know what I'm saying? Or, we've gotten burnt out on our own cooking. You know what I mean? Let me know what your story is when it comes down to food and food prep and what you like and dislike as far as taste and texture. What your favorite dishes are, what your least favorite dishes are, things like that. Alright, this is Podrey, and I'm glad you tuned in. Thank you. Have a good day, have a good night, have a good morning. Peace.
Give them prayer hands, say what's up America. Half of you should know me, right? Other half a replica. Shout out to my